Okay, so I'm going to continue to the next really big piece, which is automation. This thing, the ENV also automates things, but I'm going to really go into the subject of automation that we deliver with the SDN controller, right, which we called APM. Have you heard, right? APM is out, it's free, your customers can download it, and they can start using it in the infrastructure. Right, this is a repetitive, I guess, slide that before Ollie was mentioning on, and I just have it up here because I wanna, the problem we tackle with automation and SDN is this one here, the reduced cost and complexity. As our customers move to the journey of the digitization, they need to deploy what we call fast IT. They need to be able to keep the lights on and make their infrastructure very secure, as you know, like the network's very secure for the everyday business to run securely. But they also need to be able to innovate really fast. And we found out that at the moment, what's happening is that our customers spend 80% of their time keeping the lights on, you know, just making those configurations in the network that they need to do in a way of a device by device. And that gives them as well very little capex, because most of their budget, 2/3 of the budget, is consumed in the day after day operations. We want to take that pain away, and we want to go to our customer IT, which now Gartner calls it bimodality, and help both kind of teams that they actually have coexisting in their teams. The way that Gartner sees it and the way the market sees it, the customer, in order to go to a digitization and deliver innovation, deliver differentiation of their brands and of their services, they need to have this traditional IT that needs to move in automation, and that's how we help them with an automated way. And then they have DevOps IT that they're really moving really fast and employing the innovation that the business needs to move to new business models, that the business needs to make a differentiation for themselves. Okay, and how do we help them? So what we have out is our SDN controller, correct? We call it APM. It's called Application Policy Infrastructure Centric Enterprise Module. We're very well known for all the acronyms. So our SDN controller, what it does, it takes the intelligence out of the network so it can be able to interact with the network, control the network, but also extract information from the network. So here is all your infrastructure, your switches, your routers, your wireless access points, your firewalls, whatever you have in your infrastructure is seen by that controller. That controller uses southbound APIs in order to communicate with the infrastructure. The southbound API we use is CLI. And the reason we went to that southbound API is because all the infrastructure can understand it. That's the new devices and the old devices. That's a clear differentiator from our competitors. Now, we have also the northbound APIs, and that's the RESTful APIs. And here, see it, all the different applications. Some of them you're going to see today because Cisco is delivering them, but it's an open infrastructure, so everybody or anybody, customer, you as a partner, DevOps of the customer can actually develop applications that interact with that controller and with the extract intelligence from the whole infrastructure. And that's the idea behind it. And that's why we can deliver automation through that controller and help the traditional IT teams, but also deliver innovation to the DevOps, because all the applications will be tested and extract intelligence from the network. So, and here are the DNA layers. So I'm here in automation. The APKM is the platform. I just explained the controller. And these are the applications that sit on top of the controller. These are the applications that day one Cisco allows our customers to use in order to take the journey to digitization and in order to take the journey to automation. So you will all have this portal as partners, so you will all be able to demonstrate this to your customers. What I'm doing now is logging into the APKM, our controller, and this is what you see when you actually go into the controller. What you see is specifications on the controller, specifications on CPU, on memory. I'm not going to bore you with the details on the VN, but also you can see the supported devices that we have on the controller. And that will always update automatically from Cisco into the customer's side, right? So you can actually see that we are supporting all the infrastructure here, the 2960X versus any kind of new infrastructure as well there. So it's not only the old devices that are being supported. Use this application, which is a day zero application. We call it plug and play. And this is going to refer to your question before. I'm sorry, your name? Ray. This refers to your question before. So what we see in our customers, in the customer side, is that they have a really difficulty in deploying new network devices. So when you take a network device, let's say a router or a switch, whatever it is, they either ship it in a place where they put all the configuration, or the partner puts all the configuration and then they deploy it on the network. They have to test it with the whole rest of the infrastructure to make sure everything is working smoothly. And that takes a lot of time, especially if they have global distributed projects, and it also takes a lot of money. So they end up delaying that refresh and they end up delaying that innovation that they need to take with digitization. How we can help them with the APKM and plug and play is we simplify that procedure. A customer receives a network device or a server for NFV. It plugs it into the network, it powers it on, it gives it an IP address, and then the network device goes and finds the APKM. The APKM will understand what that network device is, and will also have pre-configurations made by the network person within a customer side or by the partner, right? So you have pre-configured templates that you can then load and distribute all over globally with the APKM. That can take a new project deployment, especially again if it's global and it's multi-sided, from months or even years to hours and days. This is the kind of simplicity we deliver with the plug and play app. Once you've done that, you can discover your own infrastructure, and you can see your inventory, I guess, let me say your inventory in terms of devices, but also in your inventory in terms of hosts. Here we don't have many, this is a lab, so we don't have a huge configuration, a huge network, but you can clearly see the simplicity because I can see all my infrastructure and I can click on it and see, for example, the MAC address, the IP address, how many days it's been on the network, what kind of memory it has, but also information onto what is up and what is down, which is really, really useful for the traditional IT teams we talked before in the bimodal IT that Gardner refers to, okay? You can also equivalently see the hosts. Here we have only two hosts, which is a wireless and a wired, but you can see the whole topology of your infrastructure as well. As I said, this is small because it's only a lab, right? Customers, again, download it for free, implement it in the network, they can have this functionality day one. And then we have things like Ione applications. You have a router, right? And usually until now, you have a private MPLS line that gives you a lot of quality of service for the applications, and it also guarantees encryption, et cetera, et cetera. very expensive, right? You are in the branch now. You need a lot more bandwidth. Remember that statistics. Every year, 20 to 50% increase in the bandwidth is expected by 2018 in our customers' branches. How can you cope with the increasing cost of the WAN? You can use other technologies like the internet or 3G, 4G, if you don't have internet and you are in a remote site, to connect to different clouds. Okay, that's your private, and C is your public. And is your 365 application, this is your WebEx, and this is your traditional Exchange, let's say, or whatever applications you have in your private network, okay? Now, Cisco, with the Ione, is able to utilize and put any technology in the WAN as a connectivity and an active-active configuration, and it makes it very, very super easy for a customer to implement, or for the partner to implement, right? This is something that's going to hit your way, if it hasn't already hit your way, as a service, to deliver as a service. We make it very easy because we lay down agnostic to transport. We are agnostic to transport, and we do an active-active configuration in all the different technologies that are linked to the WAN, okay? And that's what we deliver with Ione. We also recognize the applications. We have a protocol called NBAR2. We recognize 1,500 plus applications. So we understand what the application requirement is. That is very important when the application hits the WAN, because we tunnel it, and we tunnel it based on the SLAs of the applications. So therefore, we're able to honor these SLAs. And we do it in an encrypted way because we lay down in all the connectivities a DMVPN. That's the technology of Ione. What we do is to configure this as a partner in a customer side, okay, it's I guess, a very difficult task. It's 1,000 and 1,000 of CLI commands, and things might go wrong. Also, as a partner, what you're most likely to do is go to the Cisco website, see the Cisco validated design, advise your customer on Cisco validated design, and then copy and paste the configuration that we have in our templates. So instead of you doing all this, what we've done is create an application or our SDN controller that will automate this. Here's the application. Here we can see how to configure a hub, which in this demo is already configured, and this is how we can see here is where we can see how to configure our sites. So that's the routers in all the distributed branches, okay? If I click on it, imagine that to configure that feature on the router takes days, it needs a lot of testing, and it's difficult to do. Okay, what we do is we recognize what kind of routers that just came our way from the plug and play application that I explained before. So now I delivered some configuration, but I haven't delivered features like Ione, right? And I do want to deliver features like Ione. So I click on the router of choice that sits in San Jose, and I select a topology. I select this topology, where I have a router that links to the MPLS and internet, or different links, on the WAN. I choose that I want one of my technologies to be in MPLS and the other in internet, and then I only have to configure very few steps and deploy it into my router or globally. So I'm just putting some parameters. It depends on what kind of parameters you have for your internet, but I'm just choosing some random ones for the sake of the illustration. Okay. I only put some subnet mask and IP addresses that, as a network engineer, is very simple for me to do. I click on it, and now it's been configured. On the LAN side, I probably have some VLANs, and this is standard for my customers, so the customer will know that and be able to modify those VLANs. I click Save, and that's it. This is all I need to do. Behind the scenes, we have already made templates that are configure with the simple IP addresses that you put in there and subnet masks and some parameters that you chose, and then you just click apply. You can apply now or schedule it in a time of your choice, probably in the weekend that nobody's actually working, so you're not going to be able to have some downtime in your customers, and you click submit. Okay, I didn't actually put a schedule, and you click submit. And that's it. It will go, and it will configure that router, and you can choose any kind of router that you have all over the world in the same kind of process, and do the same step and configure it. And that's all it takes. Imagine the savings you can have as a partner, it takes you a fraction of the time, and gives you so much more time to implement this technology in more and more and more customers of yours. The other thing that we do is, as I said before, we recognize the applications. So we are predefining the applications in there. You can see that we already understand what the application is, and we categorize it. We pre-categorize it because we understand it, but as a user, you also have the choice to categorize it yourself. So maybe browsing is not very important for me, so I can change the path to Internet MPLS or MPLS Internet, or I have no preference, or maybe I want to put no performance in it. With a simple clicks on the GUI, I can set the quality of service. And the quality of service to be done and make changes on the quality of service is something, again, really, really difficult. And usually what happens in your networks or in your customers' networks is that the engineers touch it once and leave it there until it breaks. But in a digital era, this is not going to be the case. You're going to have more applications coming your way. So how are you going to be able to put some quality of service and make sure that they're working correct in the one? And this is the simple way of doing this. Again, behind the scenes, we put the hard work done with configurations and best Cisco practice designs. Again, if you don't like something to be in one category, you can drag and drop it and change it with a click. Another application that sits on the APM that is, I guess, would be very useful for you to use, or for engineers in the partner society to use, is a path trace application. Okay, so here I have only two kind of end hosts, a wireless and a wired, so I'm going to put these two end hosts in there. That's in the topology before you saw just two end hosts, a wired and a wireless. I'm putting that there, and I can actually choose a protocol of my choice, and I put a source and destination port. That's a little bit too advanced, but your engineers will understand the usage of the ports and kind of like protocols within the network. And then based on that, I can see how the packet is transversing the network, okay? And I can see, it goes from the wireless to the wired, and so I'm sending some traffic from a mobile. It goes then to a switch. It goes to the AP, then it goes in a CAPWAP tunnel, so an encrypted tunnel, to the controller, which is here, and then is decrypted again, and the packet is being delivered on the desktop, okay? Now, this is, and here you can see how a packet is, what a packet is I guess the route that the packet is going from an IP to an IP, and you can see the source and destination and what kind of protocols are used, and hop by hop the route that the packet is taking. For your teams that are taking care of your customers, when you offer a service to manage the network, this will make a big difference. Because in order to troubleshoot something that it might go wrong in an application, and to go hop by hop, log into these kind of networks, into these kind of devices for your engineers, it will take days. Sometimes, it will be too difficult to troubleshoot. So it will take a lot of their time to troubleshoot just one packet. We give them the visibility of the network to understand if something was wrong. Let's say here, I would see a red line and a blocker. Then I could just click on it and understand why is that packet being blocked, or why is that packet being dropped. What's going on behind the scenes in the packet delivery in the network. The network doesn't lie. We have visibility of the network, and we can make your lives a lot easier while you're delivering a service to your customers. And it's going to be a far better visibility for yourselves, but also you have the ability to give a greater visibility of your partner, of your customer into the networks and what's going on into the networks. So your end service will be a lot better, and that's the point of it. Easier and a lot better.